GeForce Now have announced 23 games coming to the platform in April, including a much anticipated sequel to a big AAA and an award-winning horror collection, and basically everything in between. 23 games is a lot of games, so without further ado, let's crack on, check them out. Before we get to the big AAA, we kick things off with Meet Your Maker. It's a brand new release on Steam from April the 4th. This is described as a post-apocalyptic first-person building and raiding game where every level is designed by players for players. It's a first-person shooter video game developed and published by Behaviour Interactive, makers, of course, of Dead by Daylight. In this game, players are tasked to build and raid user-generated outposts filled with traps and guards. You can immerse yourself in block-based first-person level building, use a variety of blocks and traps and guards to construct deadly maze-like outposts designed to protect your gen mat and rip trespassing players to shreds. Or you can test your grit, wit and reflexes by tactically raiding a huge selection of player-built outposts. Choose the right loadout to gain an edge and get in, grab the gen mat and try to make it out alive. Road 96 Mile North next. This is a narrative adventure game with a musical component created by DigixArt, the French studio behind Road 96, and 1111 Memories Retold, which is coming later. In this game, players will alternate between the roles of Z, or Zoe, and Kato, two teenagers with different backgrounds and beliefs. They live and explore White Sands, a luxurious condominium where Patria's elite reside and where Kato's parents work. Zoe is one of the characters from Road 96. She comes from the rich side of the city and her father works for the government. Kato, a character from Lost in Harmony, lives in the less privileged area. They're good friends, but that could all change quite soon. Their journey into Road 96 Mile North will challenge their friendship and everything they believe in. They say money doesn't buy happiness nor friendship. These teens are dreamers and they're going to learn where they belong. Will they remain friends? I tell you what, there's some great skater rock / punk style music in this, and it blends elements of skating game mechanics with rhythm type games, and it's quite an intriguing game overall. TerraScape is a sandbox game that lets you create your own world with blocks and explore other players' creations. It's like a board game that comes to life. Each pack of cards in TerraScape offers different buildings and ways to expand your kingdom. Place your cards wisely in the game world to earn points and receive new cards as rewards. The game offers several game modes, procedural maps, handmade challenges, and will be expanded in the future with more decks, cards, and game modes. Curse of the Sea Rats, I shiver my timbers, is a hand-drawn Metroidvania game inspired by the classic 16-bit era. You play as one of 4 rat heroes who've been cursed by a pirate witch and turned into rodents. You have to explore a vast world full of secrets, puzzles and enemies, while searching for a way to break the curse and regain your human form. Curse of the Sea Rats features beautiful animations, challenging combat, and a rich story with multiple endings that you can play alone or in local co-op. Ravenswatch, fallen heroes of old folk tales and legends. You are on the verge of a crucial battle against the nightmare, invading and corrupting your world. It's a roguelike action game from the creators of Curse of the Dead Gods. It's playable solo or in online co-op. It's a top-down roguelike action game that combines intense, real-time combat with deep gameplay and high replay value in this one. Supplice, which is a word that means torture apparently, but in this case it's a retro-style first-person shooter that pays loving homage to the classics of the genre like Doom, Quake, and Duke Nukem 3D. You play as a mercenary who's been sent to a hostile planet to retrieve an alien artifact. You have to fight your way through hordes of enemies using an arsenal of weapons and power-ups. Supplice basically features fast-paced action, pixel art graphics, and a cracking original soundtrack. De-Exit Eternal Matters. This is an atmospheric light adventure game with a hint of stealth. You wake up in a surrealistic afterlife world where you have to explore, solve puzzles, and uncover the secrets of the broken plane of memory. The game has a cinematic voxel aesthetic and is a deep, reflective story about death and the afterlife. Survival Fountain of Youth. I could do with that. It's a challenging single-player open-world survival game set on the Caribbean islands. You play as a shipwrecked 16th century explorer who has to craft tools and shelter, hunt for food and water, and of course, fend off predators. You also have to discover the secrets of an ancient civilization and your own fate as you search for the mythical Fountain of Youth. Tin Hearts is an immersive and imaginative narrative puzzle adventure game from the members of the team that brought you Fable. In this one, you guide a troop of tin soldiers through a magical, toy-filled world using various contraptions to bounce, shoot, and glide them to their goal. You also unravel the emotional story of Albert J. Butterworth, a genius inventor of Victorian times. It has a real nostalgic charm and a poignant soundtrack. Okay then, enough of the quirky indie titles, Clive, I hear you say. It's big AAA time with Dead Island 2. Yeah, Dead Island 2 is an action-packed zombie survival game set in sunny California. You can choose from 4 different classes, each with their own skills and abilities, and customize your weapons and vehicles. You can team up with other players online or play solo in the dynamic open world. Dead Island 2, of course, is a sequel to Dead Island, which was released way back in 2011. If zombie smashing is all too much for you, then how about Afterimage? It's a 2D side-scrolling Metroidvania game, another one that takes you on an adventure in a fantasy land called Engadin. You'll explore the beautiful hand-drawn landscapes and ruins of an ancient metropolis, meet mysterious colossal beings, an adorable roaming spirit, and fight fierce enemies and bosses with various weapons and abilities. The game features a semi-open world with over 15 different areas, over 10 character abilities, and selections of unique weapon/magic building. Afterimage is a thrilling and gorgeous game that's going to challenge your skills and immerse you in its rich lore. April the 26th sees Roots of Pacha. It's a farming and life simulation game set in the Stone Age. You can create your own clan, explore the world, tame animals, grow crops, build structures, and shape the environment. You can play with friends online and just basically enjoy a real relaxing and charming experience with this one. Bramble, the Mountain King, which arrives on April the 27th. It's a horror adventure game inspired by Nordic folklore. You play as a young boy who ventures into the dark forest with his sister, where they encounter terrifying creatures and ancient secrets. You have to survive by hiding, running, and fighting with whatever you can find. Traverse a wondrous landscape and survive deadly encounters with Bramble's many hideous creatures. 1111 Memories Retold comes from the makers of Road 96, and it tells the story of 2 soldiers on opposite sides of World War I. It's a narrative-driven game with a unique art style that resembles a painting. You can make choices that affect the outcome of the story and explore different perspectives of the war. 1111 Memories Retold takes place from a third-person perspective, with the ability to choose between the 2 protagonists either at the beginning of the chapter or freely in the middle during certain parts. canVERSE. Play hyper-realistic backgammon, checkers, and chess versus friends or computer AI with different difficulty levels. There's local and online gameplay with online support for 2 players and 62 spectators, all with voice chat. And the developer says there are more board games coming soon as they look to host more of these tabletop games. Teardown is another sandbox game from 2022 and features a fully destructible voxel environment. Prepare for the perfect heist. The game revolves around the owner of a financially stricken demolition company who is caught executing a questionable job and becomes entangled between helping police investigations and taking on further dubious assignments. It's basically a heist game where you have to plan and execute your missions by using tools, vehicles, and explosives. You can also create your own scenarios and challenges with the sandbox mode. Get Even next. This blends psychological thriller and first-person shooter elements. You play as a mercenary who wakes up in an asylum with no memory of his past. You have to unravel the mystery of your identity and your connection to a kidnapped girl by using a device that can access other people's memories. Right. I love these next two games. They're some of my favorite games of all time. It is the somewhat super creepy and disturbing Little Nightmares. Yeah, Little Nightmares is a dark and whimsical tale of childhood fears. You play as Six, a little girl who tries to escape from the Maw, a vast and mysterious vessel inhabited by corrupted souls. You have to use stealth, cunning, and courage to avoid the dangers that lurk in the shadows. And there's Little Nightmares 2, which is a sequel to that which does not disappoint. You play as Mono, a young boy who joins his forces with Six to explore the outside world. You have to face new threats and enemies in this twisted adventure, and it is twisted, dark, and creepy that will test your nerves. Right, ready for some more grown-up psychological horror and jump scares? The masters of branching cinematic horror type games, Supermassive, bring their awesome Dark Pictures Anthology, a series of standalone horror games, to GeForce Now. You're going to want to crank the visuals on these ones and get fully immersed, if you dare. Starting with Man of Medan, you play as one of 5 characters who are trapped on a ghost ship in the South Pacific. You have to make decisions that affect the fate of your characters and others. In Little Hope, you play as one of 4 college students and the professor who are stranded in an abandoned town haunted by witchcraft. Again, you have to uncover the secrets of the past and survive the nightmarish creatures, making decisions along the way that affect the game. In House of Ashes, you play as one of 5 military personnel who are trapped underground in Iraq after an earthquake. You have to face ancient horrors that lurk in the caves below. And finally, the most recent title released in the Dark Pictures Anthology, The Devil in Me. Documentary filmmakers receive a mysterious call inviting them to a modern-day replica of serial killer H.H. Holmes' murder castle. It's an opportunity that's too good to pass up and could be just the thing they're looking for to win some much-needed public interest. The hotel, of course, is the perfect set for their new episode. But things aren't quite as they seem. The crew discover that they're being watched and even manipulated, and suddenly there's much more at stake than just their ratings. These are beautifully crafted, very cinematic, and super creepy games. So there you go, something for everyone. And in terms of the Dark Picture Anthology, a real quality game that's going to look amazing if you've got GeForce Now Ultimate. And of course, don't forget, we still have the Xbox PC games which are due to start trickling through. We might see some of those in April to add to the 23 games I've just been through. So make sure you hit the likes because I like it, YouTube likes it, and it helps people like you find content like this. And if you want to stay up to date on all the GeForce Now news, GeForce Now games, and all things GeForce Now, hit that subscribe button, toggle that notification bell, and that way you'll know when I go live with content like this. And while you're at it, why don't you check out the videos over here? Because if you enjoyed this, you're going to like these ones. Trust me, they're good. Thanks for your time.